Nintendo is back in the news, and it is once again about the patents and the lawsuit about Palworld, although it's more of a broader look at it as well, because Nintendo has now have a patent for summoning and fighting mechanics in the US, which I can't believe was proven, but unfortunately I'm not entirely surprised because the stuff like this has happened before, like the Nemesis system that we've only ever seen in the Shadow of War Lord of the Rings games, because it was patented so no one else could use it. But this one is so much more broader, which I feel like it's going to be fought because there's so many games that are going to be using these mechanics like these, that already use mechanics like these, that isn't just Palworld. So we're going to be at a Windows Central today. Thank you for the article. It was written by Jennifer Young. Thank you once again. It'll be linked down in the description if you'd like to check it out for yourself. So the title goes, Palworld isn't the only target. Nintendo's latest patent could touch hundreds of games. Nintendo has been awarded a patent for summon and fight mechanics in the US, and here's why that's a problem. Like, even the patent name is super generic, like summon and fight. So like, there's so many games that use mechanics like these. Palworld is the biggest one. Old school, even new school JRPGs do this. World of Warcraft has this. Basically every MMO has a summon and fight mechanic. Like, summoners exist in almost every RPG. Like, it's gonna be insane. It's so dumb. Just before we get into the article, I'd like to remind everyone, please subscribe to the channel. 95% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to join the credits of all of these videos and some exclusive content, please go over to patreon.com/thetechnojelly and check out all that cool content. Thank you. Nintendo isn't slowing down in its legal crusade against Palworld. While the patent infringement case against PocketPair continues in Japan, the real story may be unfolding in the US. As we've covered before, Nintendo isn't just fighting one lawsuit, it's been quietly stockpiling patents and preparing for a potential American case too. And the latest one is a big deal. The newest patent is particularly egregious and could have massive implications for the entire games industry. And I think this is why I think that I hope this doesn't work. Because if this works, the games industry, the AAA industry, all video games are going to be destroyed. Because now people are going to be able to patent ideas, basically, and basic mechanics. Like, this is almost similar to, like, Nintendo in the early 80s and 90s being able to patent jumping in Mario. Like, it's almost as broad as that. Last week, Nintendo quietly secured a US patent that, on paper, gives ownership over one of the most common mechanics in gaming, summoning a character and having it fight another. 2 new patents granted to Nintendo. So, this is the image description of the patent. You must be able to move a character in virtual space. This is the summoning of the sub-character in a place where there is already another character that it will then, when instructed to do so, fight. And then the player character wins via the minion, gaining stuff. US patent number 12409387, which was issued today, covers the smooth switching of riding objects, but PocketPair has already worked around this feature in Palworld, so right now that accusation is not much of a threat. Yeah, that one is true, but it's still a really dumb patent because that's basically mounting. It basically covers mounting, which is, oh, it's so broad. Once again, so many games have this. However, as GamesFry reported in their thorough coverage of this case, patent number 1240339, which was granted over a week ago on September 2nd, is a much more significant concern. Not just for Palworld, the patent 397 covers the fundamental mechanics of summoning a character to have it fight another. So yes, sounds like Pokemon. However, it describes things that many other games do so. Yeah, I was going to say, summoning a creature to fight it for you is basically minions. Like, so many games have minions. Like, I can think of basically every RPG that ever existed has a minion mechanic, almost always. Games like League of Legends have minions. Dota 2 has minions. Even FPS games can have minions. Like, putting down a turret could technically be a minion. Unlike many patents, which have often faced heavy scrutiny or rejection before they're approved, this one glided through the US Patent Office without objections. It was filed in March 2023 and granted last week. Yeah, and like this, just like this picture observes, like summoning minions in Diablo could be part of this patent, which obviously no one is saying that Diablo and Pokemon are the same game, but like this would cover it, which is why this is a terrible, terrible thing. Patent 397 is potentially explosive for the gaming industry because it isn't just about Palworld. If games does all the following, it could be challenged. Okay, so this is the specific things that the patent covers. There must be a PC, console, or other computing device that the game is stored on, a drive or similar storage medium. You can move your main character in virtual space. You can summon a secondary character, called a sub-character in the patent. If there's an enemy present, the summoned character fights it, either automatically or based on your input. If there isn't, the summoned character can still move and fight when it encounters an enemy later. Yeah, so this is just summoning mechanics. This is basic minion mechanics. So, like, so many games have this mechanic, just like all the Diablo games. Path of Exile has this. So many games have this, and I can believe that the patent system would let this through, because the patent courts don't need to know video games. You know, it's not their job to understand video games, but I hope that this causes some bigger body, whether in the video game industry itself or somewhere, to make it so it is not eligible to patent video game mechanics. Because this is like in the movie industry, if someone patented a particular camera angle, like the Dutch angle for cameras, and so no one can use it. Like if they made it so certain transitions you had to go through patents and stuff like that. Like, this is the level of basic stuff that is going on right now. If a game does those things, Nintendo has a patent that could be used to argue infringement. I'm sure you can think of hundreds of games that do this. This isn't just a Pokemon thing. The patent language is so broad that it could arguably apply to mechanics across RPGs, action games, MMOs, and the list goes on. Basically every video game. Take Diablo 4, where the Necromancer class is built around summoning skeletons, golems, and other minions that fight automatically under your direction, and World of Warcraft, Warlocks summon demons. Hunters summon pets in Elden Ring. If you're not one of those solo purists, you might summon your Mimic Tier to help in battle, or in my case, just finish the battle for me. The list is endless. I even forgot, like Elden Ring, you can summon things in Elden Ring. Like, there's so many things that could be used for this patent. In other words, if you played games in the last 20 years, you've seen this mechanic everywhere, and now, at least in the US, Nintendo has a patent claim that could theoretically be pointed at any of them. And I feel like this is going to be the biggest hindrance for this patent, because there's so many gaming companies that are going to be super against this. Like, I always use the Nemesis system as an example, but the Nemesis system, for its credit, is very unique, and it is very specific to that type of game. You know, like a Nemesis system, at least from what I understood, was how the AI reacts to it. And like in action games, it was pretty much good for action games, maybe FPS games, but like it is a very specific system. It's not like they're patenting AI controlled opponents, you know? So like at least it's more specific. I still disagree with it, but at least it's more specific. This is such a broad spectrum of mechanics that it hits everything. So I really hope that something happens that makes it so they just basically get told no. The obvious question is, will Nintendo actually sue other developers in the US using this patent, including palworld? Well, we really don't know. In Japan, where there is an ongoing case, Pocketpair has already made a strong defense against the patents with example of prior art. Yes, that is true. We've actually covered the Pocketpair's defense when it first came out, and they did some strong defense when it comes to their demonstrating how easy it is to utilize these mechanics, so Nintendo does not own this. There's a clear evidence of palworld demonstrating its mount switching mechanic, one of its patents in question, 6 months prior to Nintendo filing for the patent. But even if Nintendo never goes that far, the threat alone is damaging. Just the existence of this patent could discourage smaller studios from experimenting with summoning style mechanics out of fear of being dragged into court. Big companies like Nintendo can afford endless rounds of litigation. Indies can't. It is true. The fact that this patent exists is the problem with this, because Nintendo is never going to sue a big company over these patents. They're using these patents to hover over small indie teams and AA teams like palworld, because they know they can't afford it. Which is the biggest problem, because the indie scene creates so many interesting games and creates so many interesting mechanics. There's so many games that focus on one mechanic super hard and just explore that mechanic like crazy. Like Celeste, when it comes to like speedrunning and platforming, you know? Like, it went hard on one mechanic. And so, like, if there was a game out there all about summoning, they could potentially be sued by Nintendo, so that game might not be made, which is the biggest problem. If Nintendo keeps going down this patent all the things road, it could trigger a full-on arms race. Imagine every big publisher rushing to slap patents on basic gameplay loops, not to protect creativity, but to keep it as potential legal ammunition. This doesn't help push the industry forward, it stands to choke it into oblivion. We are sliding into a future where lawyers shapes the games where we play more than the devs do. Should something as simple as summoning a character and letting it fight even be patentable, or is this Nintendo flexing its legal muscles? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Yeah. This one, I really hope something is done about this, because this is just like the author said, the patent all the things Nintendo has been doing. I really hope they start getting smacked down. And I hope what I really want to hope is Microsoft, Sony, and like the other big AAA companies saying this is not okay, because this is also going to stop them from doing things. Like, this is something their legal team will have to think about when they're making video games. Think about all the games that Microsoft and Sony are working on. Now they have to think, can Nintendo say you stole our mechanic of summoning a creature and letting it fight for the player? Like, I really hope the bigger companies can go over to Nintendo and just say stop this. That's like, I think, the best case scenario. So then the patent is dropped, and then maybe some precedent is set that you can't patent basic mechanics like this. So that's really the best case scenario. The worst case scenario, or the current scenario, is still bad, but more than likely, Nintendo will never actually use this patent, because it's a huge risk to use it, because if they lose, then the patent's void anyway, and all this time they spent doing it is useless. But it's mostly there just to be a legal threat more than be a active thing they do. And the very worst case scenario is they do go after someone and they win, which means that basically summoning in video games disappears. Like, it just disappears except for Nintendo games, because no one's gonna be able to do, like, no one can use it unless they pay Nintendo or something like that. So no one was ever to use it. So yeah, that really sucks that it actually went through. I was shocked when I saw that it actually went through. Hopefully something better happens. I don't think they potentially will probably use this against palworld, because they're not exactly winning in the case against palworld in Japan. So maybe they try again in the US, because laws are different. And think different things can happen in court. And that also means they have to spend more money, because Nintendo has an infinite bank account, but palworld does not. So it could be just another tactic to drain them out of money and just bankrupt them. So we'll have to see. We'll keep an eye on it. Thank you everyone for watching today's video. I really appreciate it. 95% of the people who watch my videos aren't subscribed, so please hit that subscribe button. If you would like to join all of these nice people, please go over to patreon.com/thetechnojelly. I really appreciate it if you do. If you'd like to follow me on other platforms, I have a Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Threads, all at the Technojelly, linked in the description. Thank you everyone for watching, and I'll see you in another video. Goodbye everyone.